Hey there YouTube. Today I wanted to do a quick video I've got a Schrade SCHF9 here, Becker BK2, very popular of course, and then I've got my Becker BK16 here. The reason why I'm putting together this video is because just today I received the Becker BK2. This is my first one, and as many of you know, there's a ton of reviews on this knife, very popular. I have the Schrade for some time. The reason I was making the video is because the Becker isn't quite as I expected it to be after reading tons of reviews and even watching a lot of videos and even a lot of comparisons between these two knives. So I don't think this has been addressed as far as I know. I haven't come across it, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents on the knives here and give you a quick first impression comparison on them. Like I said, I've had the Schrade for a little while now, and I've used it here and there, and I like the knife a lot. It's a little bit cheaper than the Becker. You can get these for under $40. I love this knife, I really do. It's kind of an all-purpose utility camping knife, survival knife. Very beefy, very heavy, very strong. The one thing I probably do not care for much about this knife is these deep finger choils here. I prefer the handle style that the Becker has, and that's why I wanted to pick one of these up. That being said, I was initially pretty shocked when I opened up the box and I pulled this out. The reason why, well, 2 main reasons. Number one, aside from barely being able to get the knife out of the sheath, there we go, boy, that's tight, is the weight. Now, if you look at online, I've seen the Becker listed at a pound and the Schrade about 15.9 ounces or so. Now, I weighed both of these knives and they actually come in surprisingly close to one another. However, I just wanted to say that the feel of the Becker in your hand, it feels significantly heavier, believe it or not, than the Schrade. When I first pulled this out of the box, I was convinced that this was probably another 4 or 5 ounces heavier than the Schrade was, and that some mistakes have been made by either company. I weighed them, and they're very similar. They're within half an ounce of each other, the Becker being slightly heavier. Now, I've also heard a lot of people mention that the Schrade is the heavier knife. That's just not true. They weigh the same, if not the Becker is a little bit heavier. The Schrade, the Becker BK2 does, however, feel significantly weightier in just in your hand, and I think that has a lot to do with just the balance of the knife. The fact that it's a little bit shorter of a knife gives the impression that it is a heavier knife. Now, the other thing I wanted to address is everywhere you look, these are both considered a 1/4 inch 1095 steel knives. Well, these 2 knives, I'll tell you right now, these are not the same thickness. Let me see if I can get them lined up here so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know. I don't have a caliper handy with me right now, and I have not measured either one to see who is the closer one to within a 1/4 inch. But I can promise you that these are not the same thickness. They are not both 1/4 inch. Either one is thicker than a 1/4 inch or one is thinner. I don't know how well the camera is going to pick this up, but I can promise you that this BK2 is significantly, not significantly, it's noticeably thicker of the 2 blades. It really is. And they're both listed on the websites and everywhere else as 1/4 inch steel. Okay. Now, the third point I wanted to make, I'm sure you guys have seen a ton of these videos already, but another point that I don't think has been addressed enough is the finish on these. Now, even though this is a cheaper, significantly cheaper knife, the Schrade has a very nice, almost Teflon feeling, smooth finish to it. The Becker, on the other hand, has this really rough, hard, black finish on here Very similar to that of what I had on my Becker BK16 that I had removed because I was so disappointed in the finish on the knife. It was one of the first things I did was I took the finish right off because it was just, well, it was just way too rough. It caused a lot of drag when cutting and bushcrafting and that sort of thing. So good chance that I will end up polishing this BK2 as well. You know, the reviews I've seen, pretty much everybody tends to put the BK2 you know, significantly higher than the Schrade here, but you know, my initial impression is that the Schrade is the better value. Again, if it had a better handle to it that could be utilized in more hand positions, I think that this would be my preference because of the length, because of the thickness. In my opinion, the Becker is too thick. I mean, I'm a fan of, you know, big, heavy-duty knives, but the Becker is kind of pushing the limits of that. It's very heavy. It's not something that I think that I would want to just carry as a, you know, as an everyday carry. The BK16, on the other hand, I absolutely love this knife. I would, you know, I would use this as an everyday carry, and it's also very durable. It's significantly thinner too. You can kind of see the comparison between the two blades. Big difference. So anyway, those are just a couple of observations I wanted to provide because I hadn't seen them mentioned in a lot of other videos. I think the finish is, I've been using this knife quite a bit and it has yet to really damage much of the finish on the Schrade. So I believe that the finish is a superior finish here, in my opinion, on the Schrade. I don't have really any need right now for me to strip this knife because it's quite smooth. It glides very well when carving and doing bushcrafting tasks. The Becker, the finish is extremely rough. I think that's probably going to be my first plan of action, is take the finish off the Becker. I do prefer the grip here on the Becker over the Schrades. The Becker is, of course, you know, $60, $65 knife. The Schrade can be gotten for under $40. And of course, this is my mirror finish polish BK16, which I really enjoy, everyday carry. And I hope this helps provide a little more insight and hope it clears up some of the, you know, areas that may not have been covered in other videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.